This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your live market chat, Thursday, March 9th, 2023? Question mark? No, it is. Please give me a mic check, and we'll get right into it. I'm dropping the link to the Discord room in the chat. If you want to join, again, please get involved. This isn't some Mickey Mouse show where you just show up and ask questions, and you just want to get something for free, and you don't care about learning. It's not what we do here. We're teaching people to be traders in the best sense that they can be. Again, evidence-based, not emotional, manage their positions, learn how to succeed versus overtrade, day trading, and just blow up accounts, which, again, 95% of people are going to do it. That's what they're going to do. I am no different. At one point, I have done that. For the most part, blow up a total account, but that's part of trading. You know, you live and you learn. If you don't learn, you repeat. So that's the key here, education. I appreciate all the love and support today. Man, very interesting day. Market chopping around, hitting some levels that we talked about popping, seeing some traps form, seeing some games. We'll see what happens here. A lot of us have been talking about, especially Hayoti, Harry here, we're talking about banks lead the market. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Just one quick second. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hopefully everyone can hear me. But yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I get these muted? I don't want these bouncing out. Okay, mic is good. Cool. And that's kind of the scary things. The financials lead. And so if you're not familiar with the trade on the financials, let me just dig right into it. And again, if you have any questions, please interrupt. This is just kind of free chat. All right, we talked about it failing at the upside target zone. We talked about the 20-day. If you snag the 20-day, man, what was that, Monday? Wow. XLF, I mean, if you're watching and following, high five to you, because that has been an epic, quick move, especially if you shorted the FAAS at 86 down to 71. Yikes. I mean, I don't know about some of y'all, but definitely bought some puts on it that are up a couple 100%. I guess like 150, 200. I guess that's not really a couple, is it? But still a pretty damn good trade. Better than a sharp stick in the eye. That's been the best one so far. And you know, we don't really chart the FAAS. Notice how there's really nothing on here, because there's no reason to chart these things. They're going to follow. You got some support here in the 33s. And I've said this over and over. I mean, from my connections in the financial industry to the people I speak to in real estate to the people I speak to involved in the banks themselves, they're preparing for a shitstorm. Excuse my language. They really are. And we've talked about it. If you look at, again, I'm not really much of a fundamentalist, but I do like to try to project what's going to go forward. And, you know, if inflation anchors in, I mean, you've got two scenarios that don't end well. Feds have to continue raising rates to like slow down the economy, murder unemployment. You know, it'll get unemployment higher. It'll slow, hopefully, and create deflation. Or if they do too little, too late. I mean, nobody has the ability to hedge inflation at this point. I mean, I was talking about this in the Discord room. You know, signing up for Marcus, getting better savings rates. I mean, your average bank account's paying you nothing, so you're getting paid nothing there. Your wages aren't going higher. Credit card debt has a 20% interest rate. I mean, people, again, it's just a weird dichotomy what's going on. And this is why sometimes I tell people, like, I've never met a rich macroeconomic person who's a trader. I mean, you can kind of project, but you can't necessarily project the market for sure. And so that's where I think ultimately, as I've said a billion times, had this conversation with my dad last night because he's a little like, oh, is the market going higher? A bear market ends when everybody hates stocks, and you can't end a bear market when everybody loves NVIDIA, they love semiconductors, they love Tesla, they love Apple, they love solar, they love whatever you want to call it. That's not how you die. That's not how a market peaks to its lows. No, at the end, the Uber drivers, your hairstylists, your neighbor, your friends you play recreational sports with, they're going to be like, I hate stocks. They're like, ooh, yeah, you know, I was trading there for a little while. I gave up. The VIX, too. I mean, you're not going to bottom. The market's not going to bottom without a VIX spike, at least into the 40s. We've talked about this. It's all reoccurring stuff. So it's just a matter of when, what levels, trade around it, have stops, and just define your risk. Because this compression it's probably going to lead to what? A bigger spike, in my opinion. And again, if you're not familiar with the long term, what I'm talking about, you're like, what are you talking about? The VIX needs to get up into the 40s minimum. This is the current bear market. This is previous. That was COVID. This is just previous interruptions in the economy. Got up into the 47 level, right? Here is 2008, the last bear market. Can anyone rationalize to me that they should go long for the long term here? No. I mean, again, if you want to pretend like your time horizon's 20 years and you don't care, okay. Well, again, that's not the point of this room and point of trading. You know, if your time horizons are 20 years and you're trying to rationalize, like, well, I'm just going to hold on. Okay. Again, years ending in 3. If you're not familiar with the notes, spring can be dangerous for the market. We'll see if this is the bottom coming up in March, April. Yeah, maybe Dr. Stocks. Yeah, he's got the 20-year horizon. Dr. Poop Stocks. Dr. Clown, whatever that. I mean, there's so many silly folks on Stock Twits. And people always go, what if you're wrong here? What if we have bottomed? Okay. Well, if you think the next bull market's coming back and we admit such, do you think going long, and this is what I always tell people, like, oh, I don't want to miss out. Do you think at some point it's not rocket science to go long somewhere closer to, I wouldn't necessarily say the highs, but let's pull up the SPY, for example. I mean, it's really hard to like rationalize that, but I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even probably buy until over 430, sustain. But if it is a bull market, are you going to piss and cry about it if it is? I mean, I personally don't think it's the case. But if it's start of a bull market and you buy in, you know, say right here, were you really that pissed off? No. Again, the only way I think we have a really big bull market is if all of a sudden the dollar collapses, inflation just takes a hold, and the companies are the best hedges out there. And it's kind of like what you see in Argentina, Venezuela, and their stock markets go absolutely nuts. And could that happen? Yeah. Yeah. We bottomed with the VIX at 18. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny. And so if you zoom out, you go, whoa, 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 whoa. This was a big pumper. You really think this is over? I mean, look at all the comparative moves, right? Like, that's just COVID. Again, I think this is going to take time. That's all I can really say. When, how, what causes it? Probably something. But what is it? I really try not to play that game. Because this is the problem with news. You know, buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Or sell the rumor, buy the news. The why doesn't happen. That's why you have, until usually it's time to go the opposite direction. And that's why I always tell people, like, you got to have defined risk, you got to have stops, you got to be thoughtful that you can be absolutely wrong, because you're going to see that at times stocks do things that don't make sense. What are you talking about, Dan? What does that mean? Right? That's the reality of it, right? Like, does anyone remember here? This is one of the better trades of last year, and it was actually a long. Let me pull this donkey up. SMH. Right? Not the monthly, sorry. Who remembers down here, we talked about Nancy Pelosi, what's his name? Mitch McConnell. They started all positioning like, oh, we're not going to pass the semiconductors bill, blah, 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 blah. We're like, that's the start of the negotiation. And then it bottomed, and you bought it. We bought it down here, and then said, hey, wait till they pass that bill. Boom. Buy the rumor, sell the news. I mean, it was literally like clockwork. That's what I'm talking about sometimes happens. And remember, everyone was bearish. And they're like, they're not going to pass it. They're not going to pass it. They're going to pass it. And that's what happened. So that's sometimes like you have to be just cognizant of your surroundings, what's going on. And in my opinion, Fed's got to raise rates higher. I don't see how the market can really get juiced about higher interest rates. But be aware. Yeah, Siri, please don't interrupt. But here's the problem. I always tell people, like, the bond market can anticipate higher rates causing a recession. Hence, actually, the Fed fund futures will rise. Interbank lending rate goes higher. But people start buying bonds. That's why, like, was it Trust Dan's Charts? Or he seems like a nice guy on Twitter. But he's like, oh, I'm absolutely all in short the bond market. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And again, if you pay attention to the spec position in the bond market, it is, I don't know. I can't say this for sure, but I might be one of the largest spec positioning short in bonds ever. That's rocket fuel to get short squeezed. Well, why would it squeeze, right? If people started buying bonds, deflation was coming in, and ultimately the Feds were going to continue to raise rates. Now, again, that can be near term. Maybe it could just be a month, 2 months, 3 months. Remember, just look. I mean, nothing goes down in a straight line, right? It just kind of boggles my mind that people are, again, they're really married their theses, and you got to be very, I don't know what's the best way to describe it, like just not passive aggressive, but just passive about, all right, well, if I'm right, I'm right. It's like letting the winners run, like financials, right? Been acting well, right? Like you just let them run. Tesla's been an absolute turd. Let it run. Unfortunately, did not hold on to Netflix like I should have. That's been an absolute donkey. Meh. Right? Traded around some other positions, but if you're watching Apple, you're like, oh, that's another gift. Here's the Apple or the Goldman Buddy Pass. Okay. Well, let's check out the SMH, right? All right, chopping. Back into the range. I guess you could actually drop it down a little more even. There you go. A little higher than it should expect. Watch for a wick. Said that. NVIDIA, playing games with your heart, right? I get it. Patience. That's why I'm like, please don't buy next week's options. Don't even buy just the March. It was like, if you're going to trade this thing, you better be looking at the April, and you try to get at the money. Oh, but those puts are expensive. Well, just buy less of them. Right? Just pull less of them. Buy less of them. Or what are you going to do? Again, you have to define that. I mean, I don't know what strike you're buying. I don't know what you're buying. But personally for me, I mean, I've got the 421s, the 235s, and they're not cheap, but I'm pretty comfortable. But again, my options account is 10% of my stock trading account. So if I ever blow up my options account, I'm not going, because that's what you have to assume. At some point, an options trade will go to zero. It's going to happen to you. Hence why, when you're right, hopefully you're making hundreds of percent. XLF, FAS, right? If you who bought the freaking TSLQ or shorted Tesla? If you bought with calls and puts, you probably should be doing pretty damn good, right? So we'll see. Again, Soxus in this 19 to 20 range seems like an absolute gift. But how long is it going to take? Did you just buy next week's options? Because if you did and you didn't trade around it, as we talked about, that's what happens. I know it's really hard to not trade around it because you're like, oh, it's at the highs, it'll fail at some point. But here's the difference, right? Like, go look at the XLF. Like, that thing has been tracking exactly the way you think it should. Chops back, hits the 20-day, fails. Well, if you didn't trade around NVIDIA at all, you fucked up. Excuse my language, but there wasn't a confirmation down, like in the sense of like this move is imminently going lower, right? That's different. Does this make sense? Like Apple, you trade around it, fine. If you didn't, you had time, you're just like, whatever. Right? Meta, playing games. What did Meta do, right? Came right back up. Here was the zone. You thought the 20-day, but then it started just climbing back up it. Well, then the rumors came around that they're getting rid of TikTok. Well, that had to be in the back of your mind. You can't just bury your head in the sand. So hence why I'm always like, reach out, ask questions, but be thoughtful. First Solar, like, I think this thing is an epic short, but what is it doing? Just chopping, made a new high today. Watch it. I don't think it sustains, but that's just the nature of the beast. It's what you do when you're wrong that matters. When you're right, you can't go broke shorting the XLF when you get it right, right? You can't go broke when you're short Tesla at the right prices. You can't go broke when you buy things at the right lows, right? Dust, for example. If you've been trading around the GDX, like, that's clearly working, right? Let it ride. At least with your core, as we talk about. Core. NVIDIA went down, yes, but the next move up happened overnight. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA is tough. But this is why I love it, is because, and this is the thing, as the classic contrarian to the masses, right? I'm not always a contrarian. I'm just when the masses get super excited. I mean, I've seen this formation about a bazillion times. After a big run-up, you gap up on earnings, and you either flop or you chop, and then fail. Especially if in a bear market. I mean, now again, if there's a bull market, no, you probably should not be shorting it. because this would actually be the start of the next leg up potentially, or the start of a chop and then go. So, but NVIDIA has a habit of playing games before it rolls over, right? Taiwan Semi, like this is one that if you've been shorted, like this one's been easier. Added some more today at the 20-day. Look at this. You know, Buffett's not denying, he's selling it. Here's the 20-day under it. Just, again, tight stops. Very simple. You shorted in the 90, 91 area, put $1 stop. I mean, it shouldn't get over this 92 area, right? I mean, just try to keep it simple, right? But, oh, Dan, what? Could the market be going higher? No, I don't think so. We said watch for the IWM to lag. Would you consider this lagging? Is the IW lagging the market? And is it going to lead? Right? Is the DIA, right? And again, I don't really care much about the DIA, but, you know, like the stock, it's the Dow. It's what everyone watches. It's some of the biggest stocks in our, you know, all our institutional stocks, big stocks. I mean, does this look strong? QQQ up here. SPY up here. Right? Said watch materials the last couple days because they were leading up, in my opinion. Uh-oh. Cat couldn't even give me my entry. Nucor, double top. Letter X, double top. Better watch the 20-day. CCJ, you know, just names pulling out. Like, no, that's been leading down. Alcoa, this is what's scary. Alcoa. Uh-oh. Lower high, I guess, I mean, whatever. Lower high to this one. This thing's just been a straight tanker. Things that aren't bullish, right? And then you go look at the XLF and you go, it just seems like tech is holding up last. That's my guess. Hence, letting the winners run and then trying to, like, pivot into, you know, not pivot, but trying to, like, give myself time. Meta, Apple, SMH, NVIDIA, Taiwan Semi, right? All of those names, give them time because I think they're going to crush. I mean, semiconductors, SMH, Soxus, whatever you want to, however you want to draw it. So, does that make sense, though? Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Okay, if you got questions and you're listening, you want to drop one in the learning room, go right ahead. Let me see if there's any questions on Twitter. Nope. Dr. Poop, you got any questions, buddy? Yeah, at this point, I mean, who knows what the jobs number is going to be? And honestly, it's probably going to come in hotter because... I'm not sure I understand. Siri, why are you really just getting jacked up today? Who gave you coffee? But yeah, any questions, thoughts, concerns? And this is the problem with day trading versus swing trading. Like, so look at this chop up here. If this is the 10-minute chart, you'd be like, cool, man. Don't care. But now it's the daily. You just can't handle the days of chop. Right? Like, that's why I try to feel like there's no difference in charting 10-minute, 60-minute. They're all the same formations, right? If you saw this gap up and chop that looked like distribution, does that look like distribution to me? A small, tight candle with long wicks with huge volume at the highs? Yep, you bet your ass it does. Oh, but it has to fail today. No, clearly it doesn't. That's what you learn. Oh, I better buy next week's puts. Okay, well, you better hope it goes ASAP. Like you wish it's like this, right? It's just the mindset, giving yourself time, not gambling aggressively when you have too many unknowns. Because, again, I'd love to say the market's going to roll over today, tomorrow, next week, Fed meeting March 22nd. I just don't know. And so if you're going to buy, and I guess I'm talking to the options folks, because the people trading stock, like I don't hear it. I mean, they're just like, thank you, Dan. They're quiet, and they're like, yeah, everything seems fine to me. People are trading options. You can tell, like, it just really messes with your emotions, because it's like the chart is the chart, and the options are just decaying, and you're down 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% on them, and it's like, I'm dead wrong. And it's like no, are your options wrong, or are you actually wrong on the trade? And, you know, there's a big difference, right? Correct? So that's why I tell people, like, please do not be big, aggressive options traders unless you have, confirmation. And it's like, well, when is confirmation? Well, trading around your position and hoping it dumps like the XLF. because that is the hardest part of being all in trading options. Is, you know, all in stock, it's easier to set a stop, right? You can set a dollar stop, whatever. Options, no, spreads get wide during certain times of the day, right? They get really wide. And so this is where I try to tell them, like, buy less, buy time, hit a home. Again, oh, well, I didn't have, someone's like, who is it? Lee's got 60 XLF puts. And I'm like, man, you could bought 5 puts on the FAS with just the same amount of risk. Okay, well, you got to do what you got to do. Again, liquidity, it's just, options are a whole nother ball game. And if people are like, well, I'm going to try to get rich going options only. All right. It's unless you nail the big one first, you might be slightly painful. That's from my history of someone who's blown up options accounts, not because I was stupid, just the trades didn't work. I couldn't set the stops. I got stuck. And even if I had time, if the trade was wrong, that's going to happen to you. Like, I'm looking at my first solar puts. What do I got here? Yeah, they're down 63%. Got time. Define my risk. How many do you have, Dan? 5. Now, I didn't buy them all at the same time, but try to get my cost basis down a little bit. But it's not good. It's not good. Am I going to cry about it? No. I mean, again, hopefully I have other options and other trades going that work. So, and again, this is what's so hard about it. Again, I guess I'm just ranting on options because I'm trying to give you guys an understanding of it. Sometimes the best trade to do is to take the loss and use that capital to relay into maybe 1 or 2 options that are correct. Yeah,
I didn't get that.
Why?
Could you try again?
Siri, you were really driving me crazy. Yeah, I got April's. I had some Marches, end of March, and I'm like, nope, that's not long enough. But we do know something about First Solar, you know. Fast goes both ways, right? And that's fine. Having one put is better than like somebody who's trying to put their whole account in it and then blows it up. Because that's going to happen at some point. You're going to be wrong, and then you put options on top of it. Oh, adios, amigo, right? No bueno. A little check on the market. Yeah, MicroStrategy. Man, if you shorted that one, timber. Tesla's timber. Oh, hey, NVIDIA, you're getting under 240? What are you going to do? You cute little bear. You're going to break the, whoa, low of the day? Okay. You do it, girl. Boy, whatever. I don't even really have anything drawn on my 10 minutes. Kind of funny. I mean, I could just draw for fun. Something like this. Look out below, maybe. Trap right there. Yeah, I mean, fun with drawings. I mean, you can draw it and hope it always works. But, I mean, look at the VAP zone here. 238. I mean, that's kind of what I'd like to see fail. Soxus over 20. Heck yeah. May 19th call on Soxus should be. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that. Ooh. Yeah, dude. Those May 19th Soxus calls. You got them near the low, cheap. I mean, again, when the VIX is in the 18s, it's like, man, if we just get even a pop into the 20s in the VIX, you're going to do well with your options. You're going to do pretty darn well. So, anyway, thoughts, questions, concerns, free. I'm here to, again, you can pick my brain. I wish I could tell you with certainty what's best all the time. And that's what you have to realize in yourself. You're going to get better at this, and there's a lot of great traders in the Discord room, and I love how they don't have egos. I just love how they don't have egos. Because that's the goal here. If we're all here without egos and we're trying to be honest and be friendly with each other, that's all you can do. Like, that's why the arguing on stock twits and the trolling and the endless crap on the internet is just get out of there. Dick's Sporting Goods. Didn't they pop on their earnings? Yeah, I can look at it, Ben. Yeah, everyone gets humbled by the market at some point. So the people who aren't humble, give me some time. Give me a second for Dick's, because I always start on the monthly. hold on 1 second. This would be pretty gnarly if this somehow connected. I mean, could you say candle closes? Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods. I mean, is this a bull trap on the monthly? All right, that's that. Let me go to the weekly. Let's see what we see. Yeah, I think you can hold SQQ. Again, you can have better stops with the SQQ than with options. All right, so you had the buy down here. Look at this. So this is the monthly trap on the lows. Here's the weekly. You're looking above it, but the week isn't over. Daily, that feels like a novice gap. But notice here, repeating pattern, the novice gap took a little time. I mean, I like the trade if you can be patient and wait. I don't think there's an easy answer. Like, you're going to need, obviously, the market to roll. Probably looks like Alta. I haven't looked at Alta in a minute. I don't know how you want to draw this thing. And here's something I love to do is draw the fibs, because you can see if the fibs line up with swing zones and VAP zones, you're probably finished. Oh, God. Yeah. Dude, I like this one for you, my friend. Look at this. 0.618 at this low. The 0.5 at this low. It's also the VAP zone. The 0.382 is this top. It's basically that bottom. The quarter is this high. Yeah, I mean, if the computers are running this thing, they're probably close to the top. So, I like it, Vin. I think that's cool. China doing AI work on banned NVIDIA AI chips on cloud, so much for banning chip sales to China. Yeah, maybe. Carol, you're not the one who's only early. Ask anyone here. I'm always early to trades too. Like, that's the nature of trading. To think that something's going to peak on the first day. So being early isn't necessarily the problem. Because I've told you, like, I'd rather have a part of something that's going to happen than nothing of nothing. That's where layering in. People don't have the ability to go look at a trade and go, all right, I'll take a piece. I'll take a piece. I'll take a piece. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch the bus. I want to be on the bus. I don't mind being on early. Because again, sometimes there are V tops, but what have we talked about if you follow the channel? The V tops, 10, 15% of the time. V bottom, 10, 15% of the time. Now, could this be a V here, like a one test, and then, but just be aware at some point, on the dip, it might bounce if the market's set up to bounce too, right? I think JP Morgan has more CS exposure. Oh, no, I know there's a lot of Credit Suisse exposure out there, friends. A lot of Credit Suisse from in the banking system. I mean, they're pretty deep in everything. Any thoughts, questions? Again, because I think one of the things that people really struggle with, right? All or nothing trading is gambling. Going all in options is stupid gambling. Because again, like, if you're wrong and you get milked on the IV compression, or you get milked because of the time decay, bad. First Solar just tomahawk chopped against. Let me check that out, because that could be interesting here. Oh, Shiztaki. Yeah, I'm glad I added a little bit. Check this out. Check this out. I was watching First Solar, like the hourly. I was like, I'm like, why wouldn't I take a short here? Okay, well, you have a reference. Like I said, I bought a few more really stupid, probably cheap puts, but we'll see what happens here. But that looks like a left-right combo on the hourly. Now, again, we really need to get below that 207, 208 area to really confirm anything. But so far, so good. If I wanted to short and SPY, what should I do? Buy instead of options? I know from SPY, I mean, the SPXL and the, SPXU. I mean, just remember, these things decay, though. So you got to, like, trade them. But I think one of the best things you can do with some of these leverage ETFs, so you buy the stock, is they have stupid high IV and spreads that if you buy the SQQ, what is it at right now? Just curious. You bought it at 37, and it goes up to, I don't know. All right, I'm going to do it. Yeah, so weekly trading. Weekly trading. Yeah, that. Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, I love the leverage ETFs. If you trade them, right? I mean, could it go from 36 up to 42? Yeah, well, what if the market dumps and this thing goes up to 45 and then you sell like the 35 calls 3 weeks out? I mean, you're going to get some decent money. Because, again, all of this has to reference off the Qs. And what have we said? SPSX. Yes, that's right. Watch. I mean, I literally posted this on Twitter earlier. I said, watch for the wick. Wiki. 20-day curling down. Novice gap trap. Sometimes it just takes time. The first dip gets bought. It's like, I'm not trying to be a broken record, but you gotta see it play out, because this is typically the formation, right? Like, retest happen, right? Retest happen. Chop. I mean, and again, and if anybody's sitting here going, I'm frustrated with the market. Well, this has been one of the harder markets, right? A VIX holding the 1820 level, and you've been chopping since literally October. You would love a straight line move, which we talked about. Who bought down here, right? Remember, we talked about the January effect. This thing was going to rip. Unfortunately, did not carry it as long as I should have. Well, you know what? Whatever. Cry over spilled milk, move on.org. Novice gap during the first 3 business days of the month. Things that I'm always referencing. Again, I think people who get this get it. Like, all right, I'm giving you a map based on evidence, repeating patterns, seasonality, years ending in 3, whatever. Again, all the little things. They go, how do you want to handle it? What's best for you? What's best for your account size? What's the best for your ability to sleep? What's the best risk tolerance for you? And that's where people go, tell me what to do. And it's like, I can guide you, but I can't tell you what's best for you. And plus, ultimately, like I said, I'm your teacher, mentor, guide, help you out. I appreciate the tips, the love, support. But what if I'm not around? What if at some point something changes with the markets? Like, you got to be able to, like, see the market for what it is and be honest with yourself and just go, all right, this is a probability game. I can't be right always. If you think you're going to be right all the time, that's stupid. I'm not sitting here. Anyone who pretends to. That's why I'm always amazed. Like, the people that follow on stock twits and on Twitter and trying to follow people who just certainty. That certainty mindset is certainly going to blow you up. You've always said buying the money puts with time. What do you consider in the money? 10%? What do I consider in the money? I mean, it's every price stock is different, right? If you're buying NVIDIA's, I mean, I thought the 240 was in the money when I got into them, right? Or 235s. I thought those were good. But now they're at the money. But here's the thing with in the money problems, right? In the money, at the money are better problems than buying way out of the money. And then the stock goes against you. It's just totally toast. That's what your biggest concern is, being toasted, right? If you buy out of the money, say you bought the 225, 220 puts, like, they're probably just been absolutely destroyed. Well, I'm not going to say probably. That's what it is. So, again, I really wish there was an easy answer, and it just doesn't work like that, y'all. Yeah, I like deltas at least 60, 70, 80 minimum, right? At the money, in the money. Like, delta 98.98 or negative 0.98 is going to be, like, super deep in the money. But you know what? Some people actually really like super deep in the money. If Side's around, I don't know if he's around. No, he's not around. He loves the deepest possible in the money, because then he just trades them like stock. Oh, you can't buy 30 of them. All right, well, he buys 3 of them, and he treats it like 300 shares. And it's like, have you ever traded Tesla, NVIDIA, SMH, Apple, some of these names? They're going to get you 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 points. Yep, just like stock, as Neo's saying, just like it. So it's not a bad trade. That's where I'm like, if you got a smaller account, that's what I would do. If you bought one, treat it like 100 shares, right? Well, obviously 100 shares might cost you $5-10 grand. Well, what if you could do it for $500 and have the same kind of discipline? Well, then you're going to probably do okay. Could this be finally First Solar rolling over? Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. Market's going to do what it's going to do. Market's going to do what it's going to do. Man, XLF. Let it burn. Let it burn. Here comes the 200 day. Now, if you're watching this and you go from the 20 down to the 200 day, maybe tomorrow's just a doji. Remember, jobs days can be dojis. Again, if you've got April puts on this stuff and you've got cost basis and you want to trade around it, well, here's what I would do. Obviously, keep some of your core. It's in the options note if you're in the Discord room. Take some of it off. And then what? Look for a bounce. And do what? Buy a different strike. Say, for example, if you're just doing XLF, well, could it bounce up to 35? All right, well, then you look at the 36 or 35.50 puts. Again, if it's the FAS, it's probably going to be like 80. Let me just look again. Because, again, just trying to look at relativeness. Yeah, 78, so you'd be looking at the mid-80s or the 80 puts. And, again, if you bought the 90 and it just went freaking bonkers, now how do you manage your risk, right? By taking off the money in the money options that have a huge delta, and then you can buy something. Say, for example, you bought an option on FAS, you bought it for $6-7, and now it's worth 13, 14, 15, 17, whatever type it is. You take that $17 premium, you harvest it, and when you buy the new options, you're looking in that same price range to define your risk. Well, then you're guaranteed the 10 that you made, and now you're just playing with the house's money. Kramer used to talk about this stuff with options, but he's just a freaking joke. Oh, man. Anyway, any thoughts, questions, concerns? Now, I know everyone's anticipating a dump. I don't know. I don't know. I try not to wow. XLF is just hilarious. I just don't like to put time constraints on myself. Because even when I put price constraints, I'm wrong sometimes, right? I'm really sitting here looking at Caterpillar come to me, you son of a biscuit. Got stopped out, took some profits, worried about that as a pro gap near term. Ugh. And here's where Carol's oh, sometimes I hate being early. Well, what if you don't get anything? You're going to be kicking yourself in the pants. Going, dang, homie. No bueno, right? Say you were looking at AA to short, and you're oh, I'm going to wait for 56 or whatever it was. Yeah, 56s. Again, things you see in bear markets, aka choppy markets, right? Here you go with Tesla, right? If you didn't get in up here, I don't know. Lost decade range bout for years. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, the market's 70s, 80s, 2000s remix. I don't know. Again, I'm not anticipating. If the Feds do their job, they're going to have to kill the market. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. They're just going to have to. They're going to have to take all of the inflation out of the market. Well, how do you do that? By raising rates to levels where people feel that they can make more money in other places safely. Remember, think about it. Remember, when the rates are low, everyone's in the market. Again, this is what's going to be a problem because, again, the Feds, I don't think the government can afford interest rates as high. Where did I get lost at? Oh, the market in itself, the premiums, it's still trading at a pretty expensive forward multiples. Especially if you take in, maybe if you take out the mega caps, it's relatively cheap, but here's the problem is the mega caps look like they had the biggest move down, right? Your Microsofts, your Apples. I guess Google and Amazon already started that slip. Netflix, the same thing. But you still got some mega caps. It's, again, you'll know when the bear market's over. Because nobody's going to be talking about buying stocks. Y'all remember what it was like in October when we were buying stocks? I was I think this is going to be another leg of up and then chop. Again, the data wasn't that bad, but again, the sentiment had fallen the poo. Drop by summer? M. Calorian, if you've been paying attention, I dropped the notes. If you look at years ending in 3, what does it say about March and April? Pain. Typically pain. We'll see. Again, I mean, that's my guess. Oh, who's buying natural gas? Yay. I guess if you bought it at 7, got up to 10 or whatever, 9s, and you sold it, great trade. But if you're just holding it, ouch. Again, I like natural gas or oil when it's going to be clearly running higher and I don't have to worry about the chop. Because again, if the market drops, what do I say? You throw the baby out with the bathwater. Ain't nothing safe. Flush, all turds go down. Now maybe some might reside along the bowl and get stuck, and those will probably be your winners. But I don't want to play that game. I really don't. Yeah, concur. March is ugly. Every year there is a spring swoon. How deep? Some years it's just 5%. Some years it's 10%. Just like there's always problems in August and September. Just like there's usually a hangover after the holidays in November. I mean, it's just seasonality, money flows, right? October's when the market tanks, right? Because it's the start of the fourth quarter. Institutions want to square up for their positions. Tax loss selling. Big freaking financial institution traders want to lock in their year-end bonuses, so they just cut losses and take their wins. I mean, it's all reoccurring seasonal money patterns. So stay safe. I agree. Yeah, I mean, that's if you can survive this market, there's going to be trading opportunities. Now remember, coming off the low of a bear market, you'll get a big move, but then you'll get some sort of retest or drop in 2024 or late 2023. I mean, it's just going to be a trader's market. And at the lows, there's going to be certain names that do better. And I promise you this, it's not going to be fucking tech. Oops, excuse my language. No, it's going to be in stuff that does well with inflation and higher rates. And it's going to be what? Materials. Oil, gas, probably. All your favorite green energy, copper, right? Materials, industrials, all the cheap stuff. All the stuff that's trading at cheap multiples. Housing does well, usually. Banks do well because the spreads, I mean, they're going to be loaning money out at 7% and paying you 0.1%. Damn, they're going to do well. Hi, Dan. I feel I'm coming in late again. Yeah, you are. 42 minutes in. No problem, though. What's your question? If you have one. Yeah, keep the lights on. Always have to keep the lights on. Always. Let me sip some coffee. Did I curse? I think I did. Oh, I never get the heads up. Well, then you haven't subscribed and gotten alerts because everybody here, if you are a subscriber and you have the alerts turned on, if I turn on and I post a live chat on YouTube, you should get an alert. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is everyone getting those? That's what it's supposed to be. Nice, Bob. Bob Builder with 235% gain on his calls. And that's not too shabby. Not too shabby. Okay, cool. That's what it should. That's the whole purpose of YouTube, being a subscriber. If you subscribe and you have the alert bell turned on, you will get alerts. Things I really should tank with. No, I wouldn't short home builders, man. Now again, with the market drops, they're going to drop. But in the 70s and 80s, prices just continue to go higher. I mean, I just think, again, if you want to short home builders, I think there's way better shorts out there. I would short tech every day over Toll Brothers. Now, again, yeah, there's going to be a housing correction. But here's the thing that people don't realize, again, as someone who's been in real estate for 20 years, 2008, 2009, we were building 26 million homes a year. We were pumping them out left and right. People were going crazy. They're putting 0% down. Well, now what? It's 2023. And since 2011, we had a run rate of 6 million homes built a year. Builders have way more control over their cost structures. They are not buying property. They're literally going bone dry minimum selling houses right now, again, which will affect the stock. Again, I'm not going to say it won't drop. But obviously it's not, in the 70s. I don't know, to get back in the 40s or 50s, maybe. But again, the home builders that are run well, and Toll Brother I think is one of them. they're managing their cost. I mean, I've dealt with, was it about 3 or 4 months ago, I had a transaction with them with a new build. And they just, man, they are stingy. They're not doing shit. Excuse my language. They're cutting costs. They're not building to build. They're not building a bunch of spec homes. So they're not, they don't have a bunch of sunk cost. I mean, I've watched their earnings. Again, earnings, who cares with them? But they seem, stable. Now, again, if you get higher rates and the market does collapse and capitulates, yes. Will it get dropped? Yes. No one's going to argue that. But I would all day rather be short Megatech than Toll Brothers. So that's my honest opinion on it. Again, because again, think about inflation sustaining. What? Housing prices will go up. Think of the 70s and 80s. I mean, you had choppy, sloppy, crappy markets. Interest rates went to 20%, but house prices tripled from 1970 whatever to 1980. Housing, again, people need places to live. So it's you're right, but it's hard. Maybe that's the best answer, right? It's like kind of when we joke about shorting oil and gas. Will it go down? Yes. Do I want to short it? Nah, I think there's easier trades, right? So it's a good question. It's a great question. It's just, someone like Toll and some of these big builders, man, they are not stupid. They are not stupid. There's not zero. And again, think about all the people who hit 20, 25%. Think about all the people with equity. Think about all the people with 2.5 to 3.5% mortgage rates. They're not going to sell their home unless they have to. So you're going to have this like constant shortage of inventory for the foreseeable future. Now people say, well, what if the unemployment rate goes higher and people have to start selling their houses? Okay. Well, when we see that, then yes, maybe housing has bigger drop potential. But with unemployment in the 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6 range, that's not going to turn over the housing market completely. Now, could it stabilize, soften 5, 10%? Yeah. Again, I've said this all day. I mean, I'm trying to buy properties here in the fall after the summer. Like, I'd want to see all the inventory come back in for the summer, and then I want to see the people who have houses that sit and they couldn't sell in the summer because they kept their prices too high. I think those are the folks you can prey on. And again, I hate this sound like I'm taking advantage of anyone, but if you're a real estate agent, does not price your house competitively when you want to sell it, you are going to get screwed. And when I say get screwed, meaning say the market value is $400,000 for your house, but you list it at $450,000, you're not going to get any offers. And you're going to say, well, I'll wait for lowball offers. Well, guess what? People are just not even going to look at it. But if the market value is, say, approximately $400,000 and you list it at $385,000, you're going to get a ton of people looking at it, and you might actually get over ask. It's not that hard of a concept, but man, I see it all the time in real estate where people are just mispricing their listings, and the person who takes the pain on is the seller who has to keep paying the mortgage. And then what? Once your house sits beyond 2 weeks to a month, now there's a stigma, and you're not going to get high offers. You're going to get people lowballing the crap out of you. You're going to get investors like me going, oh, well, you list at $450,000. I think it's worth $375,000. And imagine when you're the seller and that's all you get is like a bunch of these lowball crappy offers. It drives you crazy. That's some real estate experience for you. That's the worst. Again, I would rather have people competing, interested in a house, than just leaving it there and hoping you get one person to buy it. Because again, one person looking at a house, probably not going to overpay. I wouldn't. If I know I'm the only one looking at your car, your house, you're trying to sell something, I'm not paying over the market price. But if all of a sudden 10 people are interested, yeah, between the final 3, they're probably going to be like, well, I really want it, and I want it at this price. And, I'll pay this. Right? So, yeah, again, it's real estate isn't rocket science. It's just the same thing as like, think about going to a freaking yard sale. If there's no one there, and the family's trying to sell stuff, and you're the only one, you literally can just pick and choose the prices you want to pay. But if they advertise it well, they get people interested, well, now now they got a little bit of leverage. It's not rocket science. SPY, new low of the day. Any questions, thoughts? Again, I love chatting with you guys because, again, I think people lose the effectiveness of the words, and you got to hear it. And for me, again, I tell you guys, if you can teach this stuff, you know it, and you can execute it, it's good. Abundant mindset, helping others. again, if people are like, why don't you start a syndicate for real estate, or why don't you start get back into like finance and create a fund, and I'm like, I want to be able to go snowboarding. I want to be able to take a day off. I don't want to have to watch the markets every damn day. I don't want to be married to it, because I've done that stuff. Advising people is a fucking nightmare. Excuse my language. Because every day they're going to go, what do you think about the market? What do you think about the market? Oh, it's up, it's down, it's down. Oh, I don't know. Oh, hey, I read this article. Oh, great, awesome. It said this, Dan. Dude, that was the worst, managing clients. I mean, you become literally, you think managing the Discord room is hard. Imagine managing clients who all they do is read the news, and all their questions are second guessing your strategies. Well, I read this, and Fast Money said that, and Kramer said this. And then they have no understanding of the markets at all, and you try to explain it to them. It's like trying to explain to somebody, something like, hey, this is how you drive a car, and you're talking in English, and they're German. Like, it's just like a whole different language. Don't know what's going on. Oh, I understand this is a car and to drive it here, but I don't understand how to talk to you. Like, that's the problem. Like, it's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Everybody's second guessing everything you're doing when you manage their money. That's why manage your own money. Then you won't second guess yourself once you learn how to do this stuff. Again, you'll still be wrong, but at least you'll own it. You'll learn from it. Any thoughts, questions, concerns? SMH, come on, break it. I like this. I like it though. We really need to get back under yesterday's open. Then you need to get under the 20-day. Then you need to break 240. 240 is game over. Because think about this from the perspective of everybody who watches this. They go, oh, a lower high means what is coming. A lower low, I better sell and get the hell out. Does it happen today? I don't know. Let's look at what's the VIX are doing. VIX is at 1965. Woohoo. Awesome. Just started. God, man, I should have held Netflix, y'all. Told you that. Look at that. I was like, man, that's a trap. There's a retest. Got in on this day around 370. Ugh. Took profits. Lost gains. That's part of trading. All right, thoughts, questions, concerns? Man, come on, Meta. Come on, Meta. I love hating on Meta. And again, maybe don't follow me on this trade. I think they're spending money on Facebook, marketing, Instagram. Ugh. I can't believe I'm upset with the 100% gains. Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing, I guess, right? I guess that's a good thing. You got to love when they pop up on earnings and they're cutting all these people. They're laying people off. They're trying to, like, restructure everything because it's a bloated piece of crap. Nobody, I mean, how much time do people spend on Facebook and Meta? Again, now they're begging Congress to cut out TikTok because they suck. Jeez. It's a joke. It's a joke. Now, again, I don't trust TikTok at all. But again, all these services, do you not think they're all tracking your information? You talk about, I always like to make the joke, a buddy of mine in college, like, used to wear a neck brace out to the bar to pick up chicks, to start conversations with folks. I tell that story, I guarantee I'll get an ad for a neck brace. You hear me, phone? Like, that's it's so bad. Or you say, here's another one. Say Las Vegas, you might want to go to Vegas, you're looking at a trip, you want to go gamble, I guarantee you're going to get an ad. So it just kind of is what it is. But spending time on Meta, I mean, Facebook, God, I see so many people fired up who are like those folks that sit around like munching on, depends on, again, they're drinking soy lattes or they're drinking, what is that, gun barrel coffee. Like they're getting amped up on caffeine, watching Fox News or MSNBC like, I hate liberals, I hate Republicans. Trump is the worst. Biden is the devil. Like, just getting so wound up. Like, that's all they do is argue on there. It's like, why would I want to go to that? Like, people are literally hating each other. Hate each other. Yeah, Siri. Dude, Siri's been like, my watch is literally popping up every 5 minutes. Again, the people who sit around who get like super hyped up about the world, just control what you can control. Be the best you. Right? If you sit around and watch negative stuff, you don't realize there's a lot of good going on in the world. Yep. 200-day dinger. Ding, 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 ding. If you want to take a little off, you ain't going to go broke taking profits. Ain't going to go broke taking profits. That's for sure. However, the VIX is still low. This thing could be, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. This thing could be just starting a big wave down. Right? Like here, let's remove the fibbers. Let's check this out. Check this out. For some reason I got this song in my head. Run, run. Check it out. Check it out. So you hit the 0.618, right? You do the A to B leg. Like, you know, you guys familiar with Gartley patterns? This guy like created these things in the 1900s. It's just like an A to B formation of up, down, up, down. I mean, it's all related to, I guess, wave theory too, but I don't really give a crap about wave theory. I just like the structure. If you fail at the 0.618, you should be coming back down at least to retest the lows. And if not, you can project lower. You can take 41 from 29, 11 points. Take 11 points from 37, takes you to 26. Where's 26? Why is it important? It's an old level down here. That's kind of my long-term target. Maybe it's easy. It looks a little dirty on the daily. Let me see if I can pull it up on the weekly. Yeah, here you go. Zinger. I mean, minimum, we're going to get back down there if this is a bear market. And again, look at the weekly chart. Like, you know, I get it, taking some profits here. And it's not always going to be a straight line move, right? We know that, and you know that, I know that, but I don't know why we wouldn't come back into the 30s, low 30s. Low 30s. So, anyway, any thoughts, questions, concerns? Just love when people are trolling. Just, you know, it never ends. I mean, it's always so easy to get angry at people. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Market's looking good. But again, I don't know who said it this morning, but there's like, is this a bull trap on this pop? It's like, I think so. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. It's about an hour. Unless someone has something to say, has a question. I know Ulta has earnings after the close, correct? Right? And I know some people who are like looking to short this sucker. Oops, that's the weekly. Let's check out the daily. Man, that thing is due to gap and trap, up or flop. Tough to know. Tough to know. Man, you just don't have... Maybe they've been distributing over time. Remember, you can have time corrections, then the start of, in price traps, right? I mean, again, fundamentals, you could argue this is a bad business, right? But clearly somebody got their butt squeezed on this thing. Keep an eye on, this is interesting. Because here's a Gartley pattern, right? A to B, B to C, C to D projection. What is this? 374 up to 483, right? 109. What's 109 from 447? Okay, well, maybe it needs to get to 447. But it doesn't have to. Again, I mean, it's symmetrical formations and like repeating waves. Again, I always laugh at the people wave theory because, again, it makes sense, but it's not guaranteed. Like the people who live on like, it has to hit this price on the way. I'm like, why don't you look at the VAP zones? Right? Like you put out a target and it doesn't line up with a VAP zone, right? With VAP being volume at price, like big liquidity area, or it doesn't line up to a big support zone. It's like, trust me, I never really murder anyone, or would think about it. But I mean, I used to like just totally destroy the wave theory folks because they would try to project wave theory in bull markets, and I'm like, dude, stop it. You can get irrational going higher, so you can't go get irrational. Why? You know what I mean? Like, so why are you gonna like try to pick the top? Let the signal show itself. Versus like, oh, wave theory says it has to go here. Well, same thing, right? XRP's trend at the moment. Man, I don't really look at crypto. I'm sorry. I really don't really trust crypto at all. I mean, it's just, I don't. Like Bitcoin, we talked about this being like a head and shoulders top. Well, here you go. If you break this line right here, adios. Again, I don't trust I don't trust any crypto long term. It's like gold, you got to trade it. Is it XRP? I mean, that might be funny to you, but again, how can you rely on crypto long term? I don't know. I really don't know. Is this not, what is that, billion? Oh, this is market cap with XRP. Where's dollar? Again, I don't know who wins the crypto battle. I would think Bitcoin survives, so I would trust them. I know they continuously print more or create more and more Ethereum, so that seems really difficult, right? No, it's why is it not showing? Yeah, anyway, whatever. I'll find it here. I hate TradingView, by the way. Again, how do you... People don't realize, like, the tulip bubble and the crypto bubble was bigger than the tulip bubble. It was created and exaggerated because of endless stimulus from COVID. Now, unless we get that 2.0, which we probably will at some point, it's tough to know. I mean, as someone who loves gold, you couldn't pay me to be long gold right now. Talked about the miners absolutely getting throttled. Again, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you think crypto is somehow safe, the only thing is safe is to have a hedge on it. That's my opinion. I don't think necessarily it has to go higher. Again, people who read narratives, read the news, the noose, they put that noose around their neck and believe it, you're going to get screwed at some point. And I mean, and how do I know that? Because I've been screwed by this. Like, I used to believe hard in gold, always. I used to trade it like it was always going to the moon, and then it just stopped. And then I got super aggressive, and I'm like, this is where the pivot idea came from. Sometimes the stuff you're looking at and the narratives you're reading are bullshit. You're not going to get rich after the big move. Well, where's the base? I don't know, man. I don't know, but I know if I own Bitcoin, just like I own gold and trade around it, I trade around it. Oh, but what if the resets overnight and goes to the moon? Well, guess what? It hasn't. Betting on that day is going to be a hard trade. Maybe you own your core position, but you got to trade around it. You just absolutely have to trade. Oh, I don't want to pay taxes. Okay, well, then you also going to get what the market gives you. Crypto is a great asset to trade. The market is meant to be traded. Treasuries meant to be traded. It's a market. I don't know how else to explain this. I mean, again, I'm not going to hate on crypto. I think, again, certain ones will probably survive, but the idea that the government can just pick and choose who's going to be the winner here, create their own crypto coin, Fed coin, e-coin, whatever, outlaw stuff. Whoa, there we go. I mean, I'm getting fired up. The market's getting dumped. But again, people who trade crypto, trade it. I'm telling you, investing in this stuff, it is a crapshoot. You have no clue who's going to win. No clue. Now, people will say, again, I mean, it's almost like GameStop and AMC. Like, I get these folks who literally every day are like, did you read about this with GameStop? Did you read about this? They're going to do this. They're going to put the liquidity on. They're going to create the short squeeze of a century. Do. Okay. Well, if you didn't sell here, you're a sucker. And if you didn't sell up here, you're a sucker. Now the easy trade's over. The hodlers in crypto are the suckers because they could be trading other stuff. This pivot thing. Or if you're going to hold some for security, just like I have physical metals, I'm not trading them. But if I put my whole life being into gold or silver or whatever and didn't trade it, well, guess what? I'm just going to get what the market gives me. Yeah, I know tons of people won't sell stuff. Dude, I know people who own Apple will say, well, I will never sell it. I'm like, all right, well, I hope it never goes down. Because people don't remember. There's how many stocks survive the long term from the Dow, right? The S&P 500. Not many. The only one is ExxonMobil. The second one that was the second longest was GE, and they got pounded. Nobody's safe. Larger you get, the bigger you are, the more competition's coming for you, the less your margins become. People steal, the death of 1,000 paper cuts. Death of 1,000 paper cuts. U.S. Steel, again, I think they, if I remember correctly, that's another good one. I think they restructured. It went public. Yeah, they were private for a little while. Correct me if I'm wrong. But whatever. Yeah, market's dropping. That's right. What's the next level? You should know the levels, right? You should know the levels. We got to, break the 200-day. Because look at here. Now you've got, it's the golden cross. Well, now you've got a lot of Cat 5 wiring. You have the backside of the trend line, 100-day, 200-day. All could be support. But if they break, you open the doors for what? Pain. Absolute pain. Absolute pain. Financials have not stopped dropping. Imagine that. All right. Yeah, we might. Again, I would love it to see the VIX. Oh, it is at 20 right now. I could care less, honestly. I feel like we're just starting. But could it chop around? Do you want to trade around your positions? Do you have time? If you're trading options, be thoughtful. Again, it's no different than this crypto conversation. If you hold your options fully to expiration, you better hope 1,000% you are correct the whole way. But you can trade around a core. Hope that helps. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for the love, support, generous donations. Again, I appreciate anybody sending anything because I know, again, the people who get it. You're going to have a tuition bill. It's whether you learn from the market and you pay big tuition and get your ass kicked, or you do it for free and you learn from somebody. You're thoughtful. You're humble. Now my VIX, I don't know why it's so delayed, but whatever. No, you guys are welcome. It's interesting how things I've heard say over and over finally sink in. Yeah. That's why I think people don't realize it's no different than any skill. You don't, what is it? Say do something 10,000 times to master it. Well, hopefully you don't have to trade 10,000 trades to master trading, right? It's probably going to take you years. But only in general. You have to be thoughtful. Like, you're not going to absorb. You're just not going to absorb everything all at once. You're a sponge. If you pour, you squeeze a hose out of sponge, does all the water hold to the sponge? No, it only can hold so much. And then it loses a little bit, and then it'll pick up more. But you have to squeeze, you know what I mean? Like, think of your brain as like going to the gym. You're not going to get there. You're not going to get, say you want to lose 50 pounds. It's not going to happen in one day. Say you want to gain 15 pounds of muscle. It's not going to happen in one day. Say you want to get better trade. It's not going to happen in one trade or one day or one cycle. It's a constant learning process, and you have to love it. If you don't love the process of trading, you think it's frustrating, you think it messes you up emotionally, then you shouldn't be trading. Because again, you're going to find at the base core of this, trading isn't hard. Executing trades is hard. Well, why is it hard? Markets can be tricky, and your emotions can screw with you, right? If you've learned that lesson, wow, you're already above it. If you haven't, then you're going to learn it at some point. The words will make sense. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Talk to you later.